You're listening to Glove Up or Shut Up on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
All right, so let's transition from Bellator 170 from last weekend to this weekend show, Bellator 171 in the Kansas Star Arena in Mulvane, Kansas.
That is correct, sir.
Main event is Melvin Guillard and Chidi Njokuani.
Yep, Chidi Bang Bang, who, speaking of impressive performances, if you saw his last Bellator fight, it was an impressive knockout of Andre Fiallo. It was a highlight reel performance. The only bad thing about it, if you gotta look at it any kind of way, is that Njokuani didn't make weight for the fight, and it was a catch weight fight of 175 pounds. So, it's probably a good thing that Guillard, given how many times he's missed weight, and Njokuani missing weight the last time he fought, that they're actually fighting at 175. That is the contracted weight for this main event. So that's good news for both of them.
Yeah, I think it's a case where there's no grace. We're not giving either one of these fighters benefit of the doubt for making weight. If you want to agree at 175, great. We're gonna make it an open catch weight 175. If you show up at 180,
the fight's canceled. You can't do that.
Just go home. You're done.
Yeah. Well, with Guillard, he kind of should anyway.
Yeah, 32, 16-2, and Njokuani is 16-4.
Yeah, I think Njokuani's going to eat his lunch, but what do I know? We'll see what happens.
Now, what about Aaron Darrow and David Rickles?
Aaron Darrow is your career journeyman. That is the textbook definition. This guy, he's always around, but he's not that good. So
it's okay.
He is cannon fodder for David Rickles in this fight. They gave him a beatable opponent in what is essentially his hometown. Yeah,
I don't see Darrow winning this fight. I think Rickles, cannon fodder is probably the best way to say it here. AJ McKee puts his undefeated streak on the line against Brendan Phillips.
Both fighters have 6 wins, but Brandon has 2 losses to go with it. So, once again, you're looking at a setup fight to keep a promising fighter moving up, and I'm not talking about Brandon Phillips.
Is he the real deal?
AJ McKee? I think he is. He's at least, when his father was in his prime, when he had that 10-year unbeaten streak, everybody was like, why isn't this guy in UFC? And then he had a bad fight in UFC and got cut. So that was unfortunate. But I think his son is at least as good as his dad in his prime, and he might even be a little better.
So we always say when it comes to these records, undefeated streaks, you got to consider the quality of opponent. So let's just put our fantasy booker hat on just for a second. McKee wins this fight. He's now 7-0. Who do you give him next?
That is a very intriguing question, given that the featherweight division has, for the longest time, been the most competitive division in Bellator.
One of my favorites in all of MMA, actually.
Yeah, so we're talking about something that you can't just pick one name, because any name in that division could be a very serious test for him. So, I mean, honestly, picking, I mean, you obviously can't give him Daniel Strauss. You can't start with that, because he needs to come along a little further before he gets a championship fight. So,
but you know that Strauss is going to be watching this fight just in case.
Right. But I think it's way too soon for that.
Okay, so not a championship fight, but maybe someone who's a top 5 or top 10. But McKee, I mean, I'm not sure how many. If he's on his streak, I would say today it's January. I would say 2 more fights, maybe a title shot, maybe 3, depending on the performance.
All right, I'm going to give you 3 names since you've challenged me here. And if he takes 2 fights out of these 3 names and beats both of them, he would be in title contention.
Okay.
The 3 names I'm going to give you are Emmanuel Sanchez, Daniel Weichel, and Patricio Freire. If he could beat 2 of those 3, he would be in title contention.
Wow. I want to say Weichel, and I'm going to say Pitbull.
I think that makes the most sense, but we'll see if that's their plan for him, because they're bringing him along very carefully. They are not rushing with him. They want to create a star, and I applaud them for that. This is one of those things where we could get in another argument about whether you want to put always the best fighter against always the best fighter, or whether you want to create stars and make money. And in this case, I think bringing him along slowly and creating a star will actually make them more money later on. So you build him up, and then you have the great fight with him when he's ready for it.
Now, this last fight on the main card, you might have to help me out with this one here. Alice Smith Younger and Jessica Middleton.
Yeah, well, Middleton would be more of the, I guess, interesting fighter of the two, because she's fought in Mulvaney, she's won in Mulvaney, and Yager, the one thing she has is experience, because she's 10 years older, so she's been around longer, but I don't think that means she's the better fighter.
So they're giving this fight a chance on the main card, but it's a prelim card that they want to elevate both names, maybe?
What, Yager? No, I don't think they're trying to elevate her at all.
Do you think they're trying to showcase Middleton?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So that's going to do Bellator 171, the main card. Now, before we talk about the UFC Fight Night on Fox, we should talk some news. And, you know, there's a lot of people talking about Tito and Chael. We've already talked about that. And I have it written down here. Okay, so for those, I'll say it again because I need to repeat myself. If you have a strong stomach, look up Brennan Ward eye injury. It's pretty gnarly, but some people like to see how bad the cut actually was. And it was, I mean, I don't know when do you think he'll come back to fight? 6 months? 8 months?
I would probably think 4 to 6 months, but I haven't gotten the medical suspension, so what my speculation means is absolutely nothing. And don't even bother to look up medical suspensions during the show, because then I'm just going to have to cut the show early.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
If you do it, then I got to report it. So just
no, I'm not going to look up medical suspensions. I'm saying from a fighter's fighter spirit. I'll say this way I could say it. A fighter's spirit. You get rocked that bad, and you're damaged pretty bad. You're taken out on a stretcher. That, even though it's for safety precautions, does that not go into your psyche just a little bit?
Not if you're Brennan Ward, because the dude is kind of nuts.
Kinda.
He's not one who's going to sit around and wait. He's going to probably try to get back in there at 2 months, even if they tell him to take 4 or 6.
Okay. Honey Jason has been added on the UFC Fight Night 106 card in Brazil. He'll be fighting Jeremy Kennedy.
Well, you're always going to put Honey Jason on a card in Brazil if you could, because that dude is mega popular in Brazil.
Oh, and he's crazy.
Yeah, he's one of the crazier ones out there. He's crazy good. I'll say
Crazy
that.
Good. Now, the main event for the UFC show coming up in Halifax, Fight Night 105, has been changed because of
Junior
the
Dos
injury.
Santos is not in the fight anymore.
Which is sad. I really want to see him fight in Canada, but so these things happen in mixed martial arts. We've seen it year in, year out. So the new headline fight for the main event, Derek Lewis and Travis Brown?
Well,
that's your main event?
That's actually not the worst thing possible, because Derek Lewis, if he beats Travis Brown, that puts him right in the top of the mix. And if Travis Brown wins impressively, that puts him right back in the top of the mix.
I'm just very happy this fight's not in Denver.
Yeah, elevation would not be a good thing for either of these men.
No, these are two big boys. When I say these guys with the heavy and heavyweight.
They will come in around 260 each.
Now, UFC 211 has been announced May 13th in Dallas.
No
I'm
card.
very interested in that. No, obviously not. Too early for that, but nice to see Dallas getting a show. It's not like Texas has enough shows, but it's the American Airlines Arena.
That's right.
The UFC Fight Night, the Halifax show, Liz Carmouche and
Sarah McMahon?
Sarah McMahon is on the card, so that one they're trying to fill out the card in full, and Carmouche McMahon, that could be that slobber knocker. That is they're gonna go. Sorry, let me try that again. They're going to throw caution to the wind there. That's what I meant to say. And basically, they don't care if they come up scratched up, bloodied up, what have you. That's going to be a war.
Yes.
And you ever doubt Carmouche's fighting ability?
No.
No. You ever doubt McMahon's fighting ability? We've seen McMahon in some wars too.
Yeah, I don't doubt her either.
Although, is it weird to say Carmouche has been in a war being her military background?
No, because that's what everybody says about every fighter.
I guess. Now, Betch Correa has said that she feels, I think she's taking a page out of the Chael Sonnen book of promos, which I have to buy a copy of that book if they ever make one.
Oh, are you talking about her telling Amanda Nunes not to be arrogant?
Oh, no. This is better than that. Quote, I feel I'm better than any girl in the bantamweight division.
Okay.
No. Is the belt on her waist? Is she the champ? Then she's not the best.
No. I honestly thought you were referring to her warning to Amanda Nunes that the price of arrogance is the downfall of Ronda Rousey. Don't make the same mistake.
See, I saw that and I rolled my eyes. I just felt that was too scripted, you know? That didn't have that same, like, it seemed like too well prepared, if you know what I mean.
And I don't think Amanda Nunes is that arrogant because Nunes, unlike Rousey, has actually improved her game over time by training with different people and learning different styles. She has not stuck to one thing.